What's going on, everybody? It's Dave from Dave McGuire Reads, and it looks like the Morbius trailer is continuing where Venom left off as it plays within the MCU and changes the Sonyverse going forward. Let's take a look. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And yeah, man, that Morbius trailer has dropped. We're going to get to that in a quick second. But I had to kind of go in with a little bit of a full disclosure here. Never grew up reading comic books. Certainly am not aware of who Morbius is. But what has fascinated me about this entire thing with Venom and the MCU, and from what I gather now Morbius, is that you've been able, and by you, I mean the MCU and everyone over at Marvel, has been able to craft a story that has basically been interwoven over not only 20 plus movies, now you're going over two different production companies, and you're telling this larger narrative, which to me is like, none of it should work. None of it should work. It should all fail because it just seems like it's so complicated. You've got so much behind the scenes drama going on between two production companies vying for whatever they're going to vie for, and sort of the bloatedness that you could possibly run into with having something go this large with this many entries, so on and so forth. But from everything that I've seen, this has literally been an experiment that has just continued to move forward. They've been able to tell this one story, or multiple stories rather, over several different films, and do it in a way that's entertaining. They introduce new characters, and then those characters show up in other movies. And what's even more fascinating, and this is coming from somebody who has not seen the Venom movie yet, but I am aware of the spoiler at the end, which, spoiler alert, Eddie Brock and Venom all of a sudden are transported into the MCU Spider-Verse, or the MCU verse. And so it's interesting to note, like, what exactly brought him into that. There's a lot of speculation and chatter online that it's going to be, Doctor Strange, or perhaps Wanda did it when she's, looking at the spell book at the end of WandaVision. Or it could be when Loki and Sylvie are taking on, He Who Shall Remain, or He Who Remains, and the timeline gets all split. So it's fascinating to see that not only have all these players, been, placed around, and they have their own stories, but everything is so connected. But now they're bringing in the Sony characters, and they're doing it in a way that seems to be justified and make sense. And again, I've not seen the Morbius trailer. I've just been told that it is sort of shakes things up. Thank you, Twitter, for showing me all the little bibs and bobs of what to expect. But if that's pulled off appropriately, I mean, that is insanely clever. It's insanely clever from a business standpoint because you're getting people to come see movies from both sides, but also it's an insanely clever way from a storytelling perspective that you have been able to tell a large narrative on so many different platforms, and do it in a way that works. And somehow you took characters that people and fans thought would never be a part of the MCU. You've now made them a part of the MCU because you've been able to do this multiverse thing, which allows you to sort of bring in whomever you want. And it's just such a clever way of being able to provide justice to fans, as well as explore new stories, and also not be beholden to what the source material is. Because you could say that XYZ character, was born in this place when really they were born here in the comic books. But now you can go off and do it and just put it into the guise of the multiverse. And while that might piss some people off, from a film standpoint, you have sort of this open landscape and creative freedom to be able to go ahead and do that kind of stuff. And that's impressive. That's super impressive. So I'm going to check out this trailer. You guys watch it along with me, and we'll discuss afterwards. So here we go. Let's watch Morbius.
Before we continue, do you like what you're seeing? Be sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to stay up to date on all my content. And now, back to the video.
Ooh. I am a doctor. Little doors in the background. Cool. That's how you get people, man. Song recognition. It's interesting to see Jared Leto play this type of character. Run! Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. It comes from above! Oh, Jesus. Is this gonna be rated R? Dun, dun, dun. Ooh. Look at that, man. Look at that.
Not exactly. I have increased strength and speed. Some form of
Bat radar!
What else can I do?
What can you do? I know nothing about his powers. Is he like a legit bat? Oh shit. I mean, I know he's a vampire, but it's like... Oscorp, what?
There's something inside.
Okay. Fuck. There's no way this can't be rated R. I mean, I know Venom should be rated R and it's PG-13, but still. Yeah, Jared Harris! Uh-huh. Venom. Ooh, what spider suit is that? What? What? Oh, Tyrese. I don't know, are you? What? Okay. Okay. Initial thoughts. I really hope that they go rated R on it, but they probably won't, right? Because you're going to want to have that Spider audience, the Spider-Man audience, being able to go see it. So they're probably going to do what Venom and Venom 2 did, which is make it PG-13, and then all the gory stuff is going to be in silhouettes, and you'll see blood, you know, sort of like not as much as one would want. The makeup effects look pretty cool for him being a vampire. And like I said, I know Bubkiss about his powers. I don't know anything about him. I've never even heard of this character until they announced it. What was this, like a year and a half ago when they first announced that he took on the role, that Jared Leto took on the role. So completely unaware of what his abilities are, but it seems like this will definitely be an origin story of some, you know, ilk. He's going to discover his powers, and he wants a taste for blood, and he can run really fast, and he's super strong, and apparently he can fly. That's kind of cool. It seems like he can also control bats, which is interesting. But let's break it down. So, a couple of things. You do see the Oscorp building. I don't know. I know that from what I gathered, I don't know which version of Oscorp that is. If that's some people are speculating that's from Andrew Garfield's version of Spider-Man. Other people are speculating that maybe it is from Tobey Maguire. But then you get a picture posted up on the back of the, you know, on the brick of what looks like the Sam Raimi Tobey Maguire spider suit with the words "murderer" across. So makes you wonder what version of Spider-Man or what universe he's in, because then you go and you see that Toons, Michael Keaton's character from the first Spider-Man, Homecoming, is going to play a part in this, which is fucking fascinating. It was because, first of all, like, let's be real, he was one of the best parts of that movie, and to have him come back and play that villain, or to play that part again, is interesting, and I'd be curious to see. So it just sort of makes you question which universe they're in. Does it cross? How is it going to play into the MCU at large? And I'll tell you, man, like, full disclosure, as a story, it's cool that you're going to see someone that they're going to focus on an anti-hero. And it seems like Sony's going to be taking that on. It seems like they started to take that on, I should say. You know, you have Venom, who is an anti-hero. Now you have Morbius, which is clearly an anti-hero. And it's kind of interesting that, like, you know, Marvel could be the, you know, the altruistic and the good guys and the ones that always do the right thing. And then you can go over to Sony, and Sony can be a little bit more in the gray area, and they can be the ones that can take on the, you know, am I going to be moral? Am I not going to be moral? What's going to serve me? How's it going to serve the story? So on and so forth. As the trailer is concerned, that looks really, really, really well done. I'm actively wanting to see how this movie is going to come out, and also how it's going to play a part in the larger narrative. And let's talk about Jared Leto for a quick second. I know he got a lot of flack about being the Joker, and so many people didn't like that performance. And I know that it's an acquired taste for sure. But I got to say, you know, obviously I don't know him, but I love his performance in movies like Dallas Buyers Club. There's somebody who just sort of just throws himself into the role with. Whether or not you appreciate that what he's decided to do or not to do, I think this is going to be an interesting take, because now you're playing somebody who has, at least on the surface, more depth than the Joker. It seemed like their Joker didn't really get the opportunity to sort of show what kind of depth that character could provide. And I think, you know, the Snyder's Justice League probably gave a little bit more of that, but I don't think that he as an actor was able to really portray that on the screen to show exactly his version of the Joker in a way that was poignant. Here it seems as though he's going to be given an opportunity to have that kind of, I'm a superhero, but also I'm tortured, and I'd be curious to see what he does with it. I feel like this is probably the most appropriate role for him in terms of comic book characters, because he gets the opportunity to not just be squeaky clean, you know, Steve Rogers, but he gets an opportunity to play somebody with an edge and somebody with this sort of drive to want to better themselves physically and not die, but also it comes at a price. And that's what I keep talking about, is that as from a story perspective, there doesn't seem to be a lot of barriers. You know, it's like whatever barriers that were there from when the MCU started way back, or even comic book movies, like when we look at things like the Fantastic Four, or even Roger Corman's The Fantastic Four, which never really got it right, or, you know, the Batman, you know, in '89 Tim Burton Batman, like, you know, that origin story was different, and it kind of, you know, pissed people off. And, you know, there were purists who loved how the stories of their favorite comic book characters, you know, they wanted them to make it sure that it just stayed in those confines. And then you saw these movies which sort of deviated from the original source material. Now that you have this sort of vast multiverse where things are sort of interconnected, and it's from this universe and no, not from that universe, and now you can sort of start telling a sprawling story from a writing perspective. You know, you don't have any, like, you can take things as inspiration, and you can be like, yeah, I'm going to tell this story, which is cool, but I'm going to alter it because this fits the narrative of what the story that we're going to tell. And to me, that's the fun part. That's the fun part where you can say, you know, okay, you know, for Batman, for an example, you know, who killed his parents? You know, was it Jack Napier, or was it just some, you know, guy who tried to rob them? Was it the Joker? It wasn't the Joker. Was that how the two of them were connected? Maybe it wasn't. And having that sort of freedom to be able to tell a story that's more thematically resonant and has more poignancy to what the theme, like to what your movie's theme is going to be about, that I think is what should, you know, that's what should win. Yes, you want to pay homage and you want to know where you came from, where your roots are, but if you have the opportunity to be able to tell the story that you want to tell in the way that you want to tell it, and alter some things along the way, I think that's an okay thing to do. And it seems like, again, don't know much about Morbius, so if you have any comments, put it down below. It seems like what we're going to get there is just furthering this idea that, like, some of these anti-heroes are going to come in, and they're going to come from different backgrounds, and maybe it won't be the same thing, but we can start to really expand that universe and really start telling some really kick-ass stories. I mean, a vampire who's running around, you know, I know it's almost like Blade, like, oh god, now I'm just having a thought. I wonder if Blade, again, nothing with the comics, but I wonder if Blade and Morbius ever meet each other and duke it out. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. This looks really well done. It's going to be interesting to see how they integrate into the MCU, and I can't wait to see this one come out. So leave a comment. Let me know. Are you excited? Are you not excited? Do you like the casting? Do you not like the casting? What do you think about the Morbius trailer? Leave it all down in the comments. And until next time, screenwriting friends, I'll catch you later.